We're gonna call the October 18th, 2022 Chappaqua Library Board of Trustees meeting to order at 7:31. Let's rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
liberty
and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Joe.
And welcome, thank you.
For those of you joining us this evening, you may have noticed that we have moved our public comment to the end of the meeting. This will allow everybody an opportunity to hear the business that we're conducting and then comment, and then give us a chance to address comments. And we think it will work better for everybody. So we're making that adjustment. And I think we still have a few meeting minutes that we have not, I think we still have a little bit of homework to go back with our minutes, but we'll get to that. I just don't want to totally not address it. Okay, so before we get into accepting minutes, all that, we also wanted to make a change to the time of our meetings. Sometimes our meetings go very late, and so we're thinking if we start earlier, that'll be better for everybody. So I think if everybody is in agreement, we're going to go with 7 o'clock for now. So our new start time moving forward for all meetings will be 7 o'clock. And then you can come into the theater here to join us in person, or you can join us virtually. We're using a new device today. We'll see how the recording works. We apologize for the technical difficulties last week that were unforeseen and seemingly affected other government entities as well during that same time. But we are also working on our contingencies to try to keep the meeting live for everybody. Should we go down, the meeting will continue in person, and anyone who is attending virtually, you are more than welcome to come join. And please know that if the meeting goes down, we will do everything in our power to bring it back online as quickly as possible. But we guarantee that we will still be here meeting regardless of technology, and we'll manage and mitigate as best we can. As far as committees, we wanted to just, we had a communications committee, and we just want to reiterate that we still have a communications committee. And we are going to, we're gonna appoint Dana and Pam to that committee. And Dana, was that something you might lead, or? Okay, as a member of the board. So Dana is going to lead the communications committee for us with Pam. And then once the new director starts, the director will appoint members from the staff to that committee, whether they are returning members or not will be entirely up to the director. And then we will also be looking to include members of the public. So as we reestablish all the committees with the new board members, you'll be hearing more about our work and where you might possibly be able to help us. So we appreciate that. The other thing, we are working diligently to get ready for the new director starting on November 7th. And I would be completely remiss if I didn't stop and thank Martha Alcott, sitting to my right,
You're welcome.
You did a great job. Thank you immensely. It was really true to Chappaqua Library that everybody pitches in, and even if it requires coming out of retirement, it can be done for this special place. So we're really fortunate that Martha came back. She'll be here through the end of the month, and at the director's discretion to help with assist with the transition. And Martha has been doing a great job talking to the department heads and preparing the way for the new director. So that's all been really awesome, and really, it's been a pleasure working with you personally. So thank you.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure to help out. Really enjoyed being here again.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you.
So I think that is, I want to turn it over for your report in a second, but let's see if we can accept the minutes of September 2nd and 20th. Were those, I'm not sure we made the, not sure the minutes from the 2nd made it. No. So just the minutes from the 20th then. And I believe, did we amended them, and did the amended version get posted? Okay, so we're all in agreement that we're accepting our minutes from the September 20th.
Yes.
As revised. Great. Okay. So did I miss anything? Is there anything else that we're supposed to do at the admin level before we turn it over for the director's report? And it's not like it's last call, but okay.
Okay.
So then at this point, we would entertain your report.
Okay. So we had a couple of really amazing programs at the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center. One in September with Frederick Bachman. This program was sponsored by co-sponsored with the Friends. It was a fundraiser for the Friends. And it happened on the day that Frederick Bachman released his new book, The Winners. We had 239 people in person and 111 people live streaming from, I believe, all over the world. Certainly from all over the country. It was great. It was fantastic. Everybody really enjoyed the interview with Catherine Weimark, the president of the Friends. It was very special. It was really great. The other event we had was with Jamie Raskin, for which we had almost 400 people. He talked about his new book, Unthinkable. And that again was very, I don't know, he spoke very eloquently about our democracy and the state it's in, and it was a very interesting program. The social media posts for both of those programs have garnered more responses than the library has ever had. So thanks to Denise Minson, who does our social media posts. She's done a really great job with that. The other event was the Children's Book Festival this past Saturday, and our children's librarians were there helping visitors navigate the fair. They made about 50 individualized recommendations to people who showed up and said, you know, it's kind of confusing. I mean, there's so many authors there, and it's kind of like, where do I turn? What do I look for? And they were able to point people in the right direction. So that was really great. The library's equity committee continues to discuss best practices to set and quantify inclusion goals pertaining primarily to collections and programming. So that's ongoing work. That's a long process, but they continue working away at that. The Chappaqua Fire Department will be at the library this coming Friday to help out with the staff fire drill. And we are going to reinstate the book swap in the front of the library in the lobby. This is our version of the little free library. People can bring books they don't want anymore and take books that they would like to read. One of our reference librarians will be overseeing that. And as COVID wanes, a lot of outside groups have expressed interest in using our facilities here at the library. And we've begun booking groups into our program rooms and our theater again. The Chappaqua Garden Club continues to work with the children's room and is applying for a grant to add additional pollinator plants on the library grounds. Several new plants were added as part of the centennial celebration at the library. Visitors to the children's room were able to watch a monarch butterfly emerge from a chrysalis that formed on the milkweeds that were planted on the library grounds. We had a butterfly camp set up and people could watch it. It was really great. And I have one personnel action. Tonight, I recommend the board approve the appointment of Carolyn Kelly to the position of part-time available clerk effective 9/26/2022 at the rate of $17.25 an hour, working as a substitute with no regular schedule.
That's great, thank you. And the swap box is music to my ears. I'm a frequent user. It's great. Obviously the librarians are trusting all of us users of that service not to use it as a disposal for our unloved books, but rather an opportunity to share our most loved books. So, you know, one time I was able to pull out of there all the little happy, smiley, grumpy little square, the whole series. The Mr. and Mrs. books, yes. So you never know what you'll find, and it's a nice little added treat when you leave the library after you've checked out your books or hung out in the reading room or whatever you did while you were here. It's an incremental opportunity to take something home with you that doesn't have a due date. So that's nice. Then I was just going to ask you about the Garden Club grant. I am not a grant expert, but I did recently learn through the process that the town was pursuing on something unrelated that sometimes having a letter of support from an additional entity helps your grant proposal. So I would imagine that you know, if the Chappaqua Garden Club is applying for something, the library could write a letter in support. I know we're kind of part of the thing, but if you need something incremental from our board, sure, we can talk about that and make sure that we really support the things that we want to do as all in, because that's sort of, you know, the culture that we're trying to really continue with, everybody moving towards the same goals. And so yeah, that would be something we can do. Great. Thank you for your report, Martha. Does anyone have questions for Martha?
I have a question, Martha. First, I do want to compliment the children's room because I did walk through there and saw that, in fact, for the book festival, they had highlighted authors and put them in a special area.
Mhm.
So I think that the publicity for that event occurred, you know, before the event happened, you know, by providing curated section. So that was wonderful. I'm so glad that they were actually there directing people. I think Brian said they had like a spreadsheet.
Robin has a whole spreadsheet with all the authors and what books were actually available on site. So that they
Yeah,
People
target
came
them.
back for more recommendations
Yeah.
from the librarians.
I think this is wonderful.
that's great.
There's really wonderful cooperation there.
Yeah, Teresa Buetti was telling me that the vice principal at Roaringbrook, I think, came to her with her daughter, and her daughter wasn't a big reader, and Teresa was able to recommend several books that this girl just devoured. And I guess she just really, Teresa like just turned her into a reader overnight, it seems. It was amazing. So
That's wonderful. And so the other question I had was with regards to the updated policies, which Pam and I are gonna tackle. Because when I looked on the website, the policies as to the facility use was from 2009. One was from 2016, sorry. But I did not see anything attached under that section for the application, which has the fees. Where is that on the website? So if somebody wanted to apply to use where would they look?
I'm gonna assume that it was removed because the facilities were not being used for a while. I can't say for
Right.
certain, but I'm gonna assume that that's what happened there. And the fact that it's back now, that we should get it back up, but we do have to make amendments to that.
That's fine. So maybe that's something, if we look
Yeah,
at
right
the
on
use,
it.
we can look at the rates and then also see what might be comparable. I know next door, at the Church of St. Mary the Virgin, what we do for rates, but just what might be other, I don't know, with the community
Yeah.
center or anything, I think we should probably, if we're updating it, take a look at what other community spaces might be doing.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure, yeah. Okay, I don't know whether we're charging or how that works, because we technically, I don't know, we're.
Because we're public. Yeah.
We are
Free and open to the public, we
Yeah.
can still.
I don't know what's on the application. It just says fees and I'm just asking the question.
So we sort of, as a institution, I'll say, everybody collectively who was here. Because of COVID, the theater wasn't under use and the policies are completely out of date and they need to be revisited. And the board, and this predates Martha, the library needs the board to really take a deep look at those policies and make sure that
We're on it.
that we have, because it'll be a big conversation
Right.
for us, like, first of all, can we be collecting these monies or not? If we can, then to Dana's point, what is the appropriate amounts and do we want to do that? And then we have, we have really high thresholds for using the theater. You have to be able to post your insurance. So if someone doesn't have insurance, they don't, there's maybe some caveats, but that's something that we want to look at. And then we had also started conversations about, an individual can't rent the theater, right? But individuals want access to it. So are there different ways through programming that we could free up this space? The challenge then becomes staffing, because you can't have this space without a librarian or somebody. So there's a lot to consider. And this is where the delicate balance of wanting to share all this information with everybody, and have the open dialogue, but also be respectful of all of our time at this particular monthly meeting. So I would say for policy, one, we want to kind of look at overall what the priority policies are, but we know theater is going to be in the mix. And then, obviously legally certain policies need renewal faster than others. So I don't know if anyone wants to add anything to that.
Well, we also need to update, we have new facilities now that we've had the construction too, so we have to add those as well.
Right, so it's all the space related policies probably should be prioritized.
Well, I would just add that we probably want to see the theater used as much as possible. So
Yes.
Right.
whatever can facilitate that. For the
Yes,
community.
right, 100%. The board is 100% committed to the theater. The theater popped on our strategic plan. We're bringing in a director who loves theater. That's going to be a great incremental thing. And I also just read about the whole thing about downtowns, and you need more things and more things and more things. And even within a library, more and more is better. So this is exciting for all of us, and it's a great opportunity. And I'm so glad that you guys are on it. Dana, did you have any other questions? Nope. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so that takes us to our financials. Joe, you want to unmute and how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. I'm just gonna preface this with, I want to let the public know that Joe has been with, how long have you been with the library? You predate me.
Yeah, I don't know, 10, 11 years in different capacities.
Yeah, pretty impressive and very much appreciated. And I just want to let the public know that Joe he is looking to transition out of the library, but in a responsible, respectful way. So we are currently looking at what that means for the library, and we are very much interested in a community member to serve as our treasurer. And that is an immediate opportunity, but comfortable because Joe is here and very much looking forward to training and transitioning. So if there is anyone who is interested in being the treasurer for us, we welcome you to reach out at Chaboard at WLSmail.org. It's on the website. It is the board email. And we will also be then putting out, Joe, we're going to start publishing notice, and we're hoping that that we're able to I don't know what the right word is, because it's like we love you and we keep you forever, but you have other interests to pursue. So
I'm replaceable. It's okay.
so we're working on it, and so that's important that everybody know, because that's an opportunity for the public too, and a role that we need someone to step into those really big shoes. All right, and then the other, I have another thought before I let you. Okay, Joe, go ahead. Give us your overview, please.
Okay. There's not much to add to the report that was issued. I think that we are on track with, with the budget. Obviously, there are some lines where we'll be over and others where we'll be under, but I don't foresee at this point anything of any concern. Of course, we're still pretty early in the year. It's only 3 months into the fiscal, so the numbers kind of speak for themselves.
Yep. And from a logistics standpoint, I just have a logistical question. In order to, like, if we wanted to change one of these descriptive headings on the statement, is it a big deal or a little deal?
It's nothing. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You have to have postage, right?
Right, and yeah, well, for one, we looked at this the other day, Dana and I, and development means so many different things depending on who you are and what role you're sitting in. It wasn't that development money to get more fundraising, or is that development for people? And it's development for people, but if you don't know, you don't know. So we're thinking we might want to clean up our descriptions a little, which might be something we get back to you on, but
yeah, that's fine. I don't see any issue with that at all.
okay, yeah, bring a little additional clarity. And obviously, if we get into breaking it out differently, that has budgetary implications, and we'd have to do the appropriate motions. But in terms of if we want to, like, if we wanted to further segment like administrative into 2 piles, or move something that was put down into administrative and put it into materials or something, that becomes more difficult, or that doesn't matter?
No, again, it's, I mean, this format is a format that I had proposed, a long time ago, and it's not set in stone. I think that whatever works for any of you to facilitate managing the finances or understand what's going on, You know, I would welcome the change, and there's nothing you're locked into here.
Finance
Yep.
committee work. And
Yep, yeah, so,
Do that.
Ryan heads up our finance committee. He will probably get in touch with you on some of those changes that are more immediate that we know we want to make versus the ones that we might be looking at. And then, in terms of the closing of the books, do you want to speak to that? Where,
You mean from the prior fiscal?
yes, or,
And the audit, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think we are, you know, pretty much we're closed. The audit has commenced.
okay,
You know, I've been working with the auditors, and they will need to come in and spend a day or two, whatever it is, to go through and do their vouching, to look at invoices and other documents that Chantel has pulled together. And, you know, I think I'm just waiting to hear if they have any questions or need any additional information. So the books are closed effectively. I don't anticipate any other adjustments to be made to last year.
okay. So if like something didn't get reimbursed during the calendar year, like if we were waiting for money and it didn't make it in, how does that work?
Well, you know, as far as it relates to the internal reports that we do, such as, you know, the report that's submitted for this meeting, it's all on a cash basis. So what that means is that any revenues are recognized when we receive it, and expenses would be recognized when we pay it. So, you know, from that standpoint, if, you know, if something, you know, is transacted in this current fiscal that may have been on an accrual basis related to the prior year, it won't have any effect on our internal reporting.
You can just put a footnote and say, if it's for, let's say, a furniture expense, you can just put a footnote and say, this was for blank from the
You
prior.
could, yeah, if it's,
If a large variance, you could just note it that way with a footnote.
yeah,
On this year's.
Mhm.
Yes, perfect. So the receivable, you could notate, and we should in QuickBooks when the receivable, and we're not talking huge dollar amounts, but I think there were a couple, a couple line items that I saw that still hadn't been received.
Is there something substantial?
such as what?
Many of them are over like 2,000, but they add up to, you know, probably, I don't know, $10,000 for a whole fiscal year. It's not a huge sum, and I expect it to get resolved, but I just wasn't sure how it works from our accounting. And I think as we try to get more rigor and get a tighter budget, we would, you know, now we maybe don't, it's not as noticeable to us as it will be. So I want to make sure that we understand the ramifications as we move forward. And so that's good. So those couple things that are lingering, Jen say he's going to work with you on those, and we will hopefully have a great year. I mean, September, it's early, but it looks good. Does anyone have any other questions on the statement? And I would take a motion to approve the September 2022 statement. I second the motion. Oh, I didn't make it. I need a first.
Motion
Okay.
to approve the September 2022 statement.
Awesome.
I
Second.
second that motion.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. Great. Did anyone have any comments on the capital fund? I'll just say that related to capital expenditures and our capital fund, we are looking at, doing the parking lot right now. I apologize, you don't know necessarily. I said, so in terms of this capital fund, we will be using that, and I don't know if at some point we want to actually allocate for the parking lot. Like sometimes what we'll do is when we know the project, we then make a motion and we set aside out of capital the amount that we need to cover the project. So I don't know if we're there tonight or you want to wait till our November meeting, I think. Right? Yes. Yes, we're gonna wait until the new director is here and we, we've tried to, as a board, be cognizant of the time frame that we're in terms of keeping the library moving forward, but being respectful of the fact that we have interim leadership and we really want to be in lockstep with the new director upon his first day here. So that'll be the November meeting where we will potentially be earmarking out of capital. We are not in the school district's bond. It's a very specific bond specific to their items this go around. So we will be funding our projects out of the capital fund, and we're prepared to do that. And we're managing our finances here, and they're healthy, and I'm happy with where things stand. And I think we're handing the new director a really nice, financially healthy and otherwise a vibrant institution.
Can I just make a comment on the vibrancy? I was very impressed. This is my first packet, so I apologize, but I think, Martha, you included the stats for 2020 and compare it. And so over and above the last 3 months, July, August, September, we have exceeded the prior year. And I think, after COVID and everything else, it's just wonderful to see the patron numbers so high, 3 months running the way it has been. So
Yeah, we've been
thanks for all the staff. Yes. So, again, I haven't seen these numbers before. It's my first packet, and the year after year stuff is just very impressive.
And I see Marge is in the audience, the head of our circ department, and I know we have more capacity. So as a board, we're also trying to brainstorm what circs and what we might want to do in that vein to increase. So we have really healthy, great stats, but this board is never 100% satisfied. So we are going to try to up those numbers and continue all the good work. And hopefully we will give you what we'll continue to plan for. We have another budget cycle. It's hard to believe we just got this one and we're on the next one. These years go really fast. So we are, what we've directed everybody to tell us what the need is, and we will try to meet it.
Yes, I believe we also set a goal of working with the new director to develop some more visual depictions of the statistics like circulation, et cetera.
Yes, so one of our goals is to help with.
Like specifically?
We had talked
Like
about the
visually?
board packet, but
Oh,
the
board
website's
packet,
a
okay.
very good idea.
A lot of things, whatever we do will be shared widely, because if everybody wants information, and libraries are delivery of information. So we're thinking about management dashboards, making sure that that the new director is happy with how he's looking at the stats, that we can best support the library. So so this is all great, and we'll probably have some additional drill down potentially. And I think we're hearing that there's a ton of opportunity after, and we already know this about our programs, but now it's becoming even more apparent that if we social media them a little, we get even more traction afterwards. And I want to make sure, I'm not sure where that fits into the annual report that goes to the state, how we capture, whether we're accurately capturing our participation. So that's.
Yeah, that's a good. that's a
Something
good
we have to
question.
consider, because honestly, this library does so much, and for every person that comes to a program, we have a number, it's X, that the residual off the program, that how many people additionally access it via the internet, and not even just from Chappaqua, but globally, and I'm not exaggerating, so I think it's important that we track that. And as much as sometimes I might sound very corporate up here, I do want to say it's the best part about a library is that any effort to improve it is to deliver more to the public, and we still are a nonprofit. So our goals are still what they are, and I don't want anyone to get confused by our formality that, that we know library, social place, civic place, nonprofit, but we want to make sure all the tax dollars are really efficiently utilized, and that the public gets what they want out of their library. And we do appreciate everyone giving us feedback. So please continue to share, and we will try to deliver. So next we have to look at the bills. Does anybody have any questions about the bills? Okay, then I would take a motion to approve the October bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the October bills.
I second the motion.
Dana seconds, all in favor? Aye, unanimous. Okay, the bills have been approved. We have one personnel action to make tonight. We are going to pull it up. We're going to appoint, I'm making a motion to appoint Carolyn Kelly to the position of part-time available clerk effective 9/26/22 at the rate of $17.25 an hour, working as a substitute with no regular schedule. Can I have a second? You guys are at opposite ends of the table. Brian, you're seconding. All in favor? Aye. We had the pleasure of meeting Carolyn yesterday at our retreat lunch here, and welcome as our newest employee. We're happy to have you. All right. I think that's it for personnel. You only have the one.
Yes.
Okay. Committees. Committee reports. Jennifer, would you like to start off with building and grounds?
Sure. So we have developed a new reporting format, and hope that is well received by the community, where we are trying to more formally identify the projects that have been undertaken, those being pursued in terms of RFPs, et cetera, as well as repairs that are being targeted or have been completed. And you'll see the last page is meant to be future ideas for the library. And so we certainly would welcome community comment in that regard. To speak to, we've got a number of RFPs underway at this point in time. As mentioned in the last board meeting, we are seeking a new vendor for snow removal and grounds maintenance in hopes of improving the aesthetic of the library while maintaining the good quality of snow removal. Bill Link is managing that RFP. He has in the last month put the final touches on that document and is approaching 6 vendors with the goal of making a change in November. We've got a second RFP that I refer to as the next job RFP. It combines a number of actions replacing the reference area sink, which has been out of order for quite some time, over a year. We are also, as talked about in prior meetings, renovating the Toddler bathroom in the children's area. And so it is consistent with the format of the bathroom that was part of the overall renovation. And we're also seeking to add to that, we want to have a water spigot in the courtyard for the children's area for some of the projects such as Martha touched on, with some of the planting that the garden club is helping to facilitate, as well as the librarians for the children's area. We have gone to 6 bidders for that project. We've set a due date of October 5th. The proposals are being reviewed, and Bill Link was going to seek an additional bidder to the 2 that have responded. As Liz mentioned, we are undertaking an RFP for resurfacing the south parking lot and driveway. So we are working on an RFP to get that project undertaken and completed prior to winter 2022. So we've got a fire lit under that project to make that proceed. The RFP should have gone out yesterday, and we're setting a due date of the end of the month. Lastly, we've touched on in prior meetings the big RFP for the library facade. We have been chipping away at that RFP and doing a number of side projects. The community may remember we had what we deemed to be an insufficient response of really 2 vendors, although high quality vendors. So we're modifying that RFP, kind of reducing the scope to make it more manageable and to gain a better response. We're hoping to re-release that RFP by week's end. That's really all the major items.
That's great. And can I just add that you and Andrew Lennon at the school district, that we're connecting you, and we're going to bring the new director into that conversation.
Yes.
And we are hoping to leverage more of the school district's purchasing opportunities. Should there be things that that we can use their platform and their pre-approved rates on. So that that relationship is nicely evolving as both teams, you know, Andrew's new on their end. We got some new people here, and we're going to get everyone working together to see what the opportunities are, be it to separate workflow or to combine it, whichever makes it most efficient. That's the end goal. So I appreciate you, because I know you will be helping Bob navigate some of that as well. Okay. Policy, we touched on this a lot. I don't know if you wanted to defer or if you have something you want to add.
I think at this time, I'm going to defer,
Okay.
and because we're working on a lot of policies, so I think that
Yes.
we have to figure out which ones take priority and go from there. So we'll work with Martha and then of course with Bob.
Yep.
In how we should tackle this.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And then just the one that we all need to probably just grab from the first library that does it is the one for the meetings to enable the 5 of us to participate.
Remote participation.
Yes,
Where needed.
yes. So
Okay.
I'm sure we don't have to write the policy. We just need to either ask Terry Kirshner at WLS if
Okay.
they have done it, or somebody local is probably better because I don't know, yeah, so.
Noted.
Excellent. So that would be, yeah, so that one, and then, you guys are doing a really good job. It's a big,
Thank
it's a
you.
big ask to tackle, policies. It's a lot of what the board is tasked with doing, so we're gonna, we're on it.
Right.
Okay, I don't have any other committee reports at this time unless, somebody wanted to make a report. Okay. All right, then we have reached, public comment. So again, if there's anyone in the audience that would like to participate, you can use the raise hand function and we will, elevate you. We would prefer that you turn your camera on, and obviously we need to have audio to hear you. And you'll have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. Is there anyone who would like, there's one hand up. Can we elevate the president of the Friends, Catherine Weimark? Oh, yes. How did we almost?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay.
I'm like, reading that.
Are we able to get Catherine?
Yes.
Unmute. Hello, can you hear me?
Catherine?
Hello.
Hey, can you see me?
We heard you did a great job at Bachman.
Oh, thank you. I am honored to have been chosen, and thank you all for your support. It was a fabulous event, highlight of my life.
Well, maybe not everyone knows that in addition to being the president of the Friends, you are a librarian. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, I come visit me at Bedford Hills. I am now a full-time adult librarian there. But that does not dissuade me from my passion of supporting the Friends. So no problems there. But it is fun to see another library in action. Of course, they're much smaller. But I did want to say thank you all for your overall support. And I thought Bachman was a great event, very collaborative, very complex. Joan Kuhn needs to be called out. And Carrie and the whole team, it was huge. So while I actually was not nervous about interviewing Bachman, I was nervous about everything else. So,
Yeah.
And I just noticed I have been listening. I do know we have some outstanding furniture things that came up on the budget. I do know that's a bit of a conundrum for all of us, but I'm sure we will get it all settled in near term.
Oh, thanks, Catherine. We really appreciate you coming, and that bit of reassurance is nice to hear too.
The only other thing I'll be talking to Martha about, she doesn't know this yet, so surprise, is museum passes. I just wanted to say that stats are fabulous, and we are going to be asking, the Friends are going to be asking for stats on who's using the museum passes, meaning just not who, but how many people are. It was somewhat news to us, or I guess we weren't paying attention, but it's over $6,000 a year for the Friends to sponsor museum passes.
Yep.
So that's a lot for us. And so we would just like to confirm the usage and if there are some that aren't being used, and just making sure that all of our investment is being spent wisely. And then just the plug that we would like to hype the fact that once we need to say that we're sponsored, the museum passes are sponsored by the Friends on the website.
Absolutely. And yeah, no, that's one of the most consistent things that the Friends do, probably for the majority of the last 50 years, is to support that museum pass program. And for anyone that doesn't know, you can go to the Intrepid on the Friends through the library. So we have passes to the American History Museum. We have passes to the Intrepid. We have passes to
We went to natural
probably
history, 2 weekends.
MoMA, natural history. Anyone that you can
Thank
think of, the big ones are, I believe, the Friends, those are always covered. And then we have, I know I've done Katona on the pass, many years ago, many years ago.
Storm King.
Storm King, I think I did that on a pass once. So these passes are a great way, and certain ones of them book out very far in advance because of the school calendar. So that's a hint to anyone listening who has school-age children who's interested in some of those more popular destinations to go reserve it early. It's like a hold, you hold your time the day, I think, ahead of when you need the pass is when you pick it up. And then you return it within the time frame depending on the pass. Yeah, that's awesome. And yes, Catherine, I would anticipate you're gonna be very happy with the stats and the usage. I actually just asked Georgia Frash if they do a museum like I don't think they yet have a library program, but I would imagine the Friends would be willing to buy the museum pass to the Historical Society if it's a reasonable cost. Yes.
Yes, we just recently added a museum. The Hudson River Museum was just added this year. So yes, we accept requests, of course, year round. But yes, we would just like to loop back on the usage, just make sure we're all on the same page with the money that is being spent, because it's not insignificant, and obviously making sure the promotion is appropriate.
Great. Yeah, no, that's very valuable feedback. Thank you. All right. Catherine, any other raised hands?
Oh, sorry.
No,
I'm all
just
done.
thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Any other raised hands?
No.
Okay, then at this point, I will call the. Oh, oh.
You need, yeah.
Thank you. See, it takes everybody to get this done. We'll be calling a session tomorrow. We miss this. Okay. One of our biggest service providers is the Westchester Library System. And we actually asked for an extension because this was due, I think, yesterday, technically, but we didn't get it. We needed to get to this meeting and publicly accept this. So we've all had a chance to review this. Martha did a great job of going back to WLS to confirm that what we're paying for is what we are actually using. So I'm going to make a motion that we allow that we is the word allow? It's something for you to enter into. Yeah, we allow. I'm going to make a motion to allow the director to enter into the WLS Westchester Library System service level agreement from September 15th, 2022 until October 15th. Hold on. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing, not the term date. So the motion is to enter, the motion is for Martha Alcott to enter into the agreement with Westchester Library Services for the effective date of January 1st, 2003 until December 2023, sorry, until December 31st, 2023 at a rate of
It's, yeah.
at a total, or, yeah, I don't need to write that, I need to do the total. That's somewhere, you know, the total. Okay, so I'm gonna read off the individual costs and then for the sake of the motion, we'll collapse that to $1 amount. But I don't want to do a calculator right now. So you're gonna enter into an agreement with Westchester Library Services on behalf of the Chappaqua Public Library for the duration that we said, and for the amounts of the ILS maintenance service, which is the $35,472.46. The network managed service, which is $14,500. The device support and maintenance service, which is $30,600. The wireless support, which is $4,070. And the email maintenance and support, which is $20,000. I'm sorry, $2,000 for 50 accounts. That is the motion. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, I have a second. So again, thank you, Terry, for the extension to get this back to you guys. Thank you for your ongoing support. We really have felt like things have turned around since a few years ago, and we really appreciate all of the effort and energy that the system has put behind supporting the member libraries and making sure that our cyber security and everything is as it should be. So we appreciate all those efforts. Does anybody have anything else they want to say about the WLS SLA? Then at this time, all in favor? Aye, unanimous. Okay, thank you, Martha. Are we forgetting anything else that you want to talk about the two bids that? I think Jen covered that we have the bids and we will, and that's where we are. Okay. Oh, so the library had asked the board about potentially buying a Quickbooks cloud license. And so we need to kind of discuss that. The price tag was around $7,000. It would be an annual cost. And I,
33.
3,000. I don't know.
okay.
3 though.
Well,
maybe close to 4.
so,
3,389.
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
So 3,389 is the price tag. Philosophically, we're trying to, as a board, not bring change ahead of your new director. So I don't know, my personal, we should share what your thoughts are if we want to move forward or not. My personal thinking is it would directionally move us in a way that I would be more comfortable waiting for the director. But I understand that the reason would be to enable a more, to in the short term, make it easier to collaborate and work together. But I do feel like if we're trying to make it so that it's on a cloud so we can be remote, and if that's driven by weather, then maybe we do have another month to defer the decision. And at that point, the director would be here, but I'd like to hear from my fellow board members.
I think moving to a cloud-based system makes a lot of sense in this day and age. But since we're a few weeks away from the new director coming, I think.
Mere 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So this quote says it expires. I think we can get it extended.
I'll call them.
Yeah, just since the 20th. So he comes the 7th, right? So maybe they could just give us a
Yeah, I'll call them and find out.
grace period.
Mhm.
Okay, did anyone else? I think we're, okay, so I know that doesn't solve anything
It's okay.
today, but it's not lack of willingness, it's just
Timing.
timing.
See it, yeah.
And thank you, Dana, because I would have felt remiss if we didn't have a chance
I
to
was gonna go like this again, but I was like.
okay. Well, thank you to the public for joining us and to the staff for joining us And we will be back in a month on Tuesday, November 15th at our new time, 7 p.m. in this theater. And with that, I will entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I make a motion to close the meeting at 8:31 p.m.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Brian seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Thank you. Have a good evening.